Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Yeah, sorry. I just. Yeah, we can see you now. How are you
How are you?
doing?
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I've it's my first time using the platform, to be honest with you, and I wanted to blur my background. It's a bit messy here, so I couldn't. Apologies for the
No,
background.
yeah, no worries. By the way, thanks a lot for suggesting the topic and for taking time to do this presentation. So yeah, I will let you. You can share your screen, and I
Yes.
will manage the sharing in the platform.
Yes. Yeah. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, I think. Yeah, it's loading. Yes,
Okay,
great. So
perfect.
I will share it.
So, hello everyone.
This is for you.
Thank you for accepting me to speak at this amazing conference, and thank you for the previous speakers about all the amazing information they shared. It was very insightful, and I also want to thank my professor who suggested that I apply for this conference, and I'm looking forward to sharing this topic with you and just converse with you. So my topic is entrepreneurship right for you? Everyone, I think here is either an employee or entrepreneurship. So we all wonder or think one time in our life about starting a business, and we should always ask ourselves: Is entrepreneurship right for us? Are we fit to be entrepreneurs? Or are we to be employees for the rest of lives? And that's normal. There's nothing wrong with being an employee, and it's not everyone can be an entrepreneur. So, who am I? My name is Sadeq Almoayed. I'm from Iraq, and I'm from Baghdad. I was born and raised in Lebanon and spent some years in Egypt as well. I'm currently a senior entrepreneurship student at the American University of Iraq, Baghdad, and I've been witnessing the growth of entrepreneurial ventures in the MENA region, Middle East, and North Africa for the past few years across these three different countries: Iraq, Lebanon, and Egypt, and it's been thriving. And that's why I chose to study this major and to get involved in startups. And I spent the last 4 years building. Helping founders build their own startups. I've been part of a rocket internet venture, which is called Belly in Iraq, and they raised $10.5 million, which is the highest investment round in Iraq. And currently, we're helping to build the first legal streaming platform in Iraq. So, important questions to know the answer of before we know if entrepreneurship is right for you. What is entrepreneurship? So let me give you the book definition, then we can get with the simple definition. The book definition is entrepreneurship refers to the process of identifying, creating, and pursuing opportunities to innovate, initiate change, and generate value through the creation of new ventures or improvement of existing ones. And this involves taking risk, which is the most important part, managing uncertainties, and mobilizing resources effectively to bring about economic or social value. So, as entrepreneurship is building something new, something that has never been there before, or taking something that has existed and making it better, driving value to people, to your community, to your society, to the world. This is basically entrepreneurship. So, what are the characteristics of entrepreneurs? The first or the primary, I think, characteristic, in my opinion, is an entrepreneur should be visionary, and this is what I saw in the MENA region, that the most successful founders view the sky as the limit. They are visionary. They have a clear vision of what they want to achieve, and they are driven by long-term goals. Second characteristic is risk taking. Entrepreneurship is not an easy path. It's not always fun. It's not always filled with joy. You have to take risk to become an entrepreneur. You have to leave your comfort zone, and entrepreneurs are always willing to take calculated risks. So they are not reckless, but they calculate risks and they take it, and they know that failure is possibility. They accept it, embrace it, and move on forward with that in mind. And they are innovative. Innovative. What do we mean by innovative? They are problem solvers. They create a company with a product or a service that solves a problem that adds value to society. And they always seek new ways to improve product, services, or processes, and they are resilient. So one we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that embody the word resilient. One of them is the founder of Instacart, who built 20 failed startups. Still, he reached Instacart, which is a multi-billion-dollar company right now. And one of my very close entrepreneurs, he describes resilience as taking a slap in the face and moving on with a smile. So resilience is also a major characteristic in entrepreneurs, and because failure is always an option, and it should be accepted and viewed uh, as a positive thing rather than a negative thing or a blocker in your pathway to a successful venture. And five, they are proactive. So also one of the founders who built a successful startup in Iraq. Before he built that startup, he brought out a list. He considered all the reasons that would block or prevent his startup from succeeding, and he started planning, creating a plan for each blocker. And by this doing this, he was proactive. He saw ahead of his implementation and prevented what could have happened and killed his venture. Proactiveness is also a major characteristic in successful entrepreneurs. And lastly, there are a lot, but these are the major ones, in my opinion, that I've seen differentiate a successful entrepreneur from an entrepreneur who has let's say an employee who tried to just an employee. So they are passionate, they are deeply passionate about their ventures, they love it. And we've seen this in Shark Tank and or Dragon's Den. They call it my baby, and they have love for the venture and they have passion for it, they are driven by it. What is the importance of entrepreneurship in today's economy? So, as we mentioned, the entrepreneurs, they create or improve services or products. They bring innovation to the economy, to the society. They drive innovation by introducing new concepts to the market. They foster economic growth, and they foster competitiveness. They also create job opportunities. For example, the company I mentioned, Belly, which is a rocket internet venture, has employed more than 300 young Iraqis straight out of college, fresh graduates. They've given them opportunities that would have not been given if this startup has not existed. So, job creation drives economic growth and plays a vital role in reducing unemployment rates. Number three, economic development. These entrepreneurial ventures uh, always stimulate economic development. How? They attract investors, foreign investors. They bring money from outside to inside the country. For example, we've seen some VCs from the US, from UAE coming into Iraq and also investing some money. This also has improved our economy, improved our employability rates, our um, overall economic growth, and this revitalize our society and economy and community. And last but not least, global competitiveness. Entrepreneurship um, re, reinforces global competitiveness. It addresses, it encourages countries to develop a culture of innovation to enable them to compete effectively in a global marketplace. So let's do a self-assessment to see whether we are entrepreneurs or not. So this is not a blueprint. This is a simple, straightforward, very uh, summarized self-assessment. So first, you have to ask yourself, what are your personal values and goals? You have to reflect on your personal values and long-term goals. Sometimes we don't want to build our own thing and spend 20 years on it or 5 years busting ourselves, pouring all our efforts and time into this. So our personal values, our goals play major role in deciding whether we want to be entrepreneurs or not. Second, We need to determine if we want to make a positive impact on society, to pursue creative freedom, to leave a legacy. And this is the way to, this is what entrepreneurs do through their ventures. And of course, employees do that as well, but on a more micro level, because employees are usually one of tens or hundreds of uh, members in an organization. Second, you have to view your strengths and weaknesses. You have to be candid with yourself, to have to develop high level of self-awareness, to acknowledge your weaknesses, your strengths, what you're good at, what you're not good at, and to identify areas where you excel, such as creativity, problem solving, and communication skills. So one of the examples of this also I'd like to give, that I always give also to my colleagues, Mudassir and Magnus. So they are both entrepreneurs who founded Kareem in the MENA region, the first unicorn in MENA. And Mudassir had amazing communication skills, management skills, but he was not a great technical person, and he acknowledged that. He was aware of his deficiency in that area. So he brought Magnus, which is a tech genius, and together they founded an amazing startup, the MENA's first unicorn. And entrepreneurs have high risk tolerance. So you have to ask yourself: do you have risk tolerance? Can you dedicate years of your life to this startup, and it might fail? Will you be okay with that? Will you accept that? Can you handle that? Can you handle the pressure, the loss of money, what you have raised, your own savings? Risk tolerance plays also a big role. You have to evaluate your risk tolerance, what you can handle. And you even have to determine if you have the resilience. Some people are not were not born for it, and I sincerely believe that not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Otherwise, no one would work. No one would work for someone else. So you have to learn your resilience and resourcefulness to navigate through life's troubles when building a venture. And you have to check and you have to assess whether you have the passion and motivation for this. So Naval Ravikant, which is one of the most famous investors and entrepreneurs in the U.S., also a billionaire from his field, he has also mentioned multiple times, when investing in entrepreneurs, he checks for three things: high energy, which is interpreted to passion and innovation. And second, he looks for high integrity, which is personal values and goals. And he looks for smart people. Smart people means high self awareness, they recognize their strengths and weaknesses. So, what are the benefits of entrepreneurship? Because I know it might seem difficult, haunting, daunting, a lot of work, but there are so much benefits that make it rewarding to pursue. And the first one is independence and flexibility. You are your own boss in this venture. You've built it by yourself. You own this company, and you are independent. You have this flexibility on your decisions, on your time, and this is very important for some people, and it might be a personal goal for some, and not for others. So entrepreneurship offers the freedom to make decisions and allows you to chart your own course in the future. You draw your own path, not your employer or your colleague or your manager. And this allows you to align your opportunities with your vision and values. And second, you have creative control over your path. And by creative control, we mean you have the creative control from the conception of the idea itself to the implementation. So you decide on the brand identity, you decide on your social media, you decide on the product UI, UX. Of course, you have employees under you, but you are the final decision maker. You have full control over the creativity of your venture. And third, a great potential for financial rewards. We've seen a lot of entrepreneurs becoming billionaires from building ventures. As mentioned, Mudassir and Magnus are billionaires. We have Naval mentioned, also billionaire. And if you are pursuing this solely for money, of course, I wouldn't recommend this, because having money as the only goal, the sole goal, will not end up working for you, because this is not a sustainable incentive, and definitely uh, will not help you contribute to society positively or to the team you are building. And finally, to make a positive impact, which I believe is the most important part of being an entrepreneur, to leave a legacy for yourself, to have your own print on the world. Do not leave it like the way you entered it. And this means also to create jobs, to develop the economy, to address social and environmental challenges. In Iraq, for example, one of the startups focused on hiring only women due to high unemployability rate amongst women, which was very impressive, very inspiring, and that's one way to make a positive impact. A positive impact must be a lasting legacy that extends beyond financial means, and that's what's important. So, of course, these pinky dreams do not come without challenges, and I know I mentioned some of the challenges, but now we go deep into it. So, financial risk. One of the founders I'm currently working with has has spent 10 years, almost 8 to 10 years, saving $65,000, and finally he decided to start his own real estate marketplace. And he poured all his money into this startup, and he was aware of that, and there's a financial risk by doing that. You don't know whether this startup will work or not, and you spent 8 to 10 years raising or saving this amount of money in exchange for years of hard work, and you still do not have zero knowledge whether your startup will succeed or not. And this can be very scary at the beginning, or even not at the beginning, at all times, because you might lose all your money in just a second. So financial risk is a big factor when it comes to challenges of entrepreneurship. Uncertainty and instability. We've seen a lot of startups fail. A lot of startups suffer from financial challenges. They have to do layoffs, and sometimes you have to announce bankruptcy. So you always have to keep in mind that uh, uh, you don't know what's gonna happen. You are oblivious to all your own situation sometimes, and this is being an entrepreneur. You have to accept the unknown, and embrace it. Simple as that. So just 1 second. And yeah, so we're mentioning and work-life balance. So when all the founders I've worked with had usually were the first ones to come to office and the last ones to leave the office. I would go into the office and find the CEO there. I would leave the office and still find him there. I would I would wonder, when does this founder sees his wife? When does he see his kids? When does he have his own time or her own time? There's never work-life balance at the beginning of a startup. An entrepreneur must deal with that, and it's a big challenge. It can disrupt lives, families, but this is a big part of being an entrepreneur, to dedicate a lot of your resources, mainly your time, towards the startup you're building, towards the venture you want to have a value in the society. And finally, you have to be aware of as mentioned, that there's a high chance of failure, that this failure will not end you, and you will not go into depression. You have to or you will stop dreaming or stop being ambitious. You tried this and it did not work. Being an entrepreneur must means you have to deal with failure, and it's probably gonna happen. And the statistics shows that about 98% of startups fail, and this is a big challenge, because you're gonna start something and it's 98% gonna fail, and you have to always keep that in mind. So, how to decide whether to be an entrepreneur or to be an employee? I personally decided to be an employee for now, because my risk tolerance is not very high, I want the financial rewards, but this is not an incentive, an adequate incentive, as I mentioned. So I weigh the pros and the cons, whether I have high risk tolerance, whether I can endure this work-life balance or not, and whether I can accept this instability or uncertainty in this point of in my life. I personally cannot. So weighing the pros and cons, I found out that it's better for me currently to be an employee, and this does not cross out the option of being an entrepreneur in the future. It's still there, but I will not pursue it now. So the question is for you: do you want to pursue it now or not? Uh, uh, what do you think? Are the pros more than the cons? And you always have to seek advice and mentorship. So by seeking advice and mentorship, you go to people with expertise. You experienced entrepreneurs, industry professionals, business advisors who can bring valuable guidance and insights. Ask them about their lives, about the changes that they have endured since they become entrepreneurs, and whether this path is the one for you, and explore alternatives. So there are different paths, and always consider different approach to achieving your goals and beyond traditional entrepreneurship. Evaluate options such as freelancing, such as consulting, partnerships, and such. And with existing organization, you can always leverage your skills, interest, while mitigating some of the risks associated with entrepreneurship. And I think most of us here are familiar with freelancing and how it's similar to entrepreneurship, but not precisely. It's without the extreme risk taken with that, and without the high financial investment in the beginning. And by employing these effective decision-making strategies, such as weighing pros and cons, seeking advice and mentorship, exploring narratives, you can make an informed decision whether to leave your job and start your own venture. Because this is a life decision, life-changing decision that can impact how you continue your your life. So there's always resources and support for you as an entrepreneur. There's so many entrepreneurial networks, communities that cannot be counted. You have Startup Weekend, which is available in more than I forgot the number, but it's a huge number in tens of countries. YC Combinator, which provides you with even co-founders with experienced founders to help you, guide you, share their experiences, their resources. And you have 500 startups, which is also an amazing organization that helps you mingle and network with other entrepreneurs. There's educational programs and workshops by NGOs, by government sometimes. For example, I've always tried to engage with UNDP or UNITAR trainings about strategy, about innovation, about entrepreneurship, and that has helped me, has paved the way for me to work in startups. And there's always access to funding and mentorship opportunities through these economic entrepreneurial networks and communities. They can help you eliminate or reduce your financial investment in the beginning by helping provide you with a seed round, and also to guide you through the initial process to mitigate the risks. So conclusion: what is entrepreneurship? Characteristics of entrepreneurs, importance of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is starting a venture, creating a new service, product, or improving a new one to drive value and economic to drive value in your community or society or the world. What are the characteristics of entrepreneurs? This has always been a tongue twister for me. Uh, so, visionary, risk taking, resilient, innovative, proactive. The five characteristics of a successful entrepreneur in my mind. How to assess and the importance of entrepreneurship? We said it fosters global competitiveness, it creates jobs, it helps to drive innovation and economic development. So, how to assess yourself? You have to check your strengths, you have to check your weaknesses, to develop a high self awareness in order to know uh, both of these things. And of course, you have to identify your personal goals and your personal values and align them with your vision and mission when creating that venture. And you have to identify risk tolerance, how much risk you can tolerate at this point at your life, and whether it is the right time to start a venture. And the challenges and rewards for entrepreneurship challenges are instability, uncertainty. Uh, we said also financial risk. So all these play a major role in deciding whether to be an entrepreneur, and the rewards are unlimited. And I only mentioned three, which are the making a positive impact, leaving your mark on the world, potential for financial work, becoming a millionaire, a billionaire. I think we all dream about that, and to have creative control and independence over your own life. Thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
Yes. Thank you, Sadeq, for the presentation. Actually, yes, we have two questions in the comments. So the first one is, as a fresh graduate, do you think one should go corporate or startup? I think. Yeah.
This is an amazing question. I get asked this so many times by my fellow classmates in the university. They know I'm involved in startups. So my answer is always the same. The first 2 or 3 years after graduating, you need to go to startups. Why? Because a startup enables you to explore yourself. As fresh graduates, you do not know what you want, what you are good at, what you can do, what you cannot do, and you have to explore that, and you have to have the environment that enables you to do that. And with a startup, you can play many roles, you can wear many hats. You can be a marketer, you can be a business analyst, you can be HR, to see where you are best at. So
Great.
definitely startup.
Okay. Thanks. And for the second question, is asking about the difference between a freelance and entrepreneurship. Freelancing and entrepreneurship.
Great questions. So, freelancing is how can I tell you? So, freelancing is more what we call it a gig. You're not starting a company. You're not taking a high financial risk. So you can do that while you're working your 9 to 5 job. You can do it for a day, for a week. Stop it, put it on hold, go back to it. But an entrepreneurship is a lifetime journey. You start a big project, you invest all your time, all your resources into it, and that's the difference between freelance and entrepreneurship. You have something that's not gonna disrupt your life, while entrepreneurship is your life basically.
Okay, great. The last one is, I think mainly should we start a business directly from after graduating, or it's recommended to start as an employee in a company and then start a
Yeah.
business.
I love that question. So, between you and me, guys, even though this is recorded, but when I first started my new job, my boss believed in me and gave me big responsibilities. And I remember I had a five-figure budget in my second month of work, and I made a mistake that cost the company a couple of $1,000s in just a couple of hours. And I learned such a big lesson on the expense of the company, and I continued to do so over the past 4 years. I've done so many mistakes, countless mistakes. And if you count, if you want to measure or assess the value, the financial value of these mistakes, I can't put a number. It's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. And if I did that, if I started directly working on my own business, I would have taken that loss upon myself, something which I couldn't have done. But instead, I learned with the professionals who were aware of such risks and were happy with it because they were investing in me. And this investment got them a high return later on. And this investment will also get me a return later on when I start my own business.
Great. Again, thank you, Sadiq, for your time and for the interesting subject. As I said to the previous presenters, I would love to see you in maybe in a future podcast, because we are also organizing podcasts about entrepreneurship and about tech. So it would be great to keep in touch and see you in a next podcast.
Of course,
Nice
I would be
connecting with you,
honored.
Sadiq.